Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to decode the market's secret language. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a language that can actually predict shortages and surpluses, and it's all hidden in the price difference between having something right now versus getting it later. So let's start with a really basic puzzle. Why is the price for a barrel of oil delivered today almost never the same as the price for that exact same barrel delivered a year from now? I mean, it's the same oil, right? Well, the answer reveals this incredible dance the market does, constantly balancing the present against the future. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we're going to give a name to that price gap between today and tomorrow. Then we'll get to the heart of it, the market's two main moods, contango and backwardation. After that, we'll look at the economic tug-of-war that actually creates them, and then we'll bring it all home and see how this affects the actual money in our wallets. Okay, so first things first. What do we call that gap between the price today and the price in the future? Well, economists call it the base. And the base is really simple. It's just that gap we've been talking about. You just take the price for a future delivery and you subtract the price for getting it right now. That's called the spot price. That little difference, whether it's a plus or minus, that's the base. Okay, so whether the base is positive or negative tells us which of two moods the market is in. And this is where we get to our two big words for today: contango and backwardation. First up, we've got contango. Now, this is the one you see most of the time. It's when you have to pay a little extra for future delivery, and it kind of makes sense, right? If you want me to hold on to a big pile of stuff for you for a whole year, you're gonna have to pay me for the hassle, the storage costs, all of it. That premium, that's contango. Now, the opposite, and honestly the more interesting situation, is backwardation. This is when the future price is lower than the spot price. The market is literally willing to pay you a premium to get their hands on that asset right now. And that is a huge flashing signal that there's super high demand or a shortage happening as we speak. So you should really think of these as clear signals from the market. Contango is basically saying, hey, go ahead and store this stuff. There's a nice little reward in it for you if you wait. But backwardation, that's like an alarm bell going off, shouting, get this to the market now. We need it immediately. But what are the forces that actually push the market into these states? Well, it all comes down to this massive economic tug-of-war. The benefits of just holding an asset versus, all the costs. So on one side of the rope, you've got all the good stuff, the benefits. And this isn't just about things like dividends. It's what economists call the convenience yield, that incredible value of just having something right there when you need it. It's also about liquidity, knowing you can sell it in a snap if you have to. But on the other side of the rope, you're getting pulled by the costs. You've got the obvious stuff, right? Like paying for a warehouse and security. But the really big one is opportunity cost. That's the interest you're not earning because your cash is locked up in, say, a pile of copper instead of sitting in a bank account. And here is where it all clicks together. The base, that price difference that we see as either contango or backwardation, is the market's absolutely brilliant way of finding the perfect balance point between all those competing costs and benefits. It's like a finely tuned scale. And this is a great way to understand the limits of the system. I mean, think about tomatoes. You can't just store today's harvest for 2 years. They're gonna rot, right? So the storage cost is basically infinite. In cases like that, the market can't move supply through time. So that price difference has to get huge to manage the demand instead. All right, now for the big payoff. We've been talking about oil and tomatoes, but these exact same forces, they apply to the one asset we all use every single day, money itself. Just think about it for a second. The whole point of money is to be a stable ruler, something we use to measure value. You don't want your ruler to be shrinking or stretching all the time. So ideally, money itself shouldn't be in contango or backwardation. It should be perfectly balanced. A totally neutral way to store value. So what happens when money goes into contango? Well, that means the market expects your money to be worth more in the future. Now, if you knew your dollar would buy more stuff tomorrow than it does today, what would you do? You'd hold on to it, right? You'd stop spending. And when everyone does that, demand just collapses, pulling prices down across the whole economy. And folks, that's deflation. And you guessed it, the exact opposite happens with backwardation. If the market thinks your money is going to be worth less in the future, it sends a signal to spend it as fast as you possibly can. It becomes a game of hot potato. You want to get rid of your cash for real things before it loses even more value. All that frantic spending pushes all the prices up. and that is inflation. So this leaves us with a really fascinating, kind of mind-bending question. Money is supposed to be the most useful, most liquid thing that we have. But what if some other asset, it could be gold, Bitcoin, anything, is constantly in backwardation against the dollar? That's the market literally screaming that this other thing is more useful to have on hand right now. If that keeps happening, could that be a sign that it's on its way to actually becoming the new money?